What's going on? What's going on, guys? This is your man, Real Deal, Steele, coming to you live. And no worries, gang. I just realized I forgot to put the Doge chart up on the screen. So just give me a moment, and I will sort that for you guys. Just give me a second, guys. My whole screen, for whatever reason, on my streaming program just went wacky, wild style. So I'm trying to figure it out. So just be a little patient with me, guys, while I sort this scenario. I've never seen it flip out like this before, but I think I just figured it out. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Humming along right above 18 cents. Anyway, welcome to another episode of Midnight Mass Saturday Night Live with your man, Real Deal Steele, coming to you live from a Midwest metropolis. And it is full on winter. It's kicked in over here, but I like winter. I actually like winter. So I got a great show lined up for you tonight. A lot of interesting things to discuss, and we are going to get down to all of them, boppers. Believe it. Can you dig it? I think you can. Who do we got active in the chat so far tonight? We've got Emperor Doge. We've got Keith Havens. We've got Dylan McDougal. Good to see you, Dylan. We've got Alan Schneider, Zaxi, Julio, Diamond Hands Freddy, Marie Potter, Dozezilla. Good to see you, Dozezilla. Louis Doge Millie, Audio Freak RW. Am I leaving anyone out of the mix right now? I think I'm caught up in the... Oh, Tesla, welcome. Kyle S., good to see you in the mix as well. I'm sure more folks will be joining us as the show proceeds. Before we get started, if I could just ask you to hit that like button before we get started. It's the number one thing you can do to help out the channel and reach more people through the YouTube algorithms. So if you haven't already hit the like button, if I could just ask you to do so, hugely appreciate it. Also, if you're brand new here, I'd like to personally welcome you. You're watching Steven Steele Live. Of course, I'm Steven Steele. We've got an awesome, eccentric, fun community here, and I want you to be a part of it. So hit subscribe, hit all on that notification bell, and ascend with us to the moon, Mars, and beyond. Also, if you're not currently a member, you might consider becoming one. You could just click the link pinned at the top of the chat, and membership's just $4 a month, starting at $4 a month, just $1 a week, and you get a lot of value for very little, and it's just another great way to support the channel. Lastly, if you feel compelled to super chat anywhere throughout the duration of this broadcast, that's obviously hugely appreciated for all the time and efforts I put into putting these shows together. We got Mama Crypto in the chat. Good to see you, Mama. Abstractus Artemis. Somebody asked if I've thought about shaving. I do shave. I keep a trimmed beard. I shave my head. Let's see. What else we got? We got Hector the Dude. Good to see you, Hector the Dude. Welcome aboard. Great to see you guys. Mary, New York, coming in with a $2 make you holler. $2. Thank you so much, Mary. Thank you for starting off the show with the first super chat of the night. Always appreciate you. Always great to have you in the mix. Again, folks, got a great, fun show lined up for you tonight. So get settled in. Because we're going to take a ride. We're going to take a rocket ride. So saddle up with your stiff cocktail, your glass of wine, or fresh juice, or chamomile tea, whatever your pleasure is. And we're going to do it to it. Now, top of the news tonight. The leading theme, rather, in the title of the video and in my thumbnail is titled Elon's Secret Dogecoin Message. Elon's Secret Dogecoin Message. What could this possibly be? I'm sure some of you may be asking yourselves at this juncture. Well, it was late last night that Elon tweeted out something very simple, very succinct. And what was that thing? It was simply the emoticon, the emoji that says top with an arrow pointing up. What could this be? Seemed very ambiguous, didn't it? It seems very ambiguous until you think about the timeline on which this transpired. So, just a little bit before that, what was Elon's tweet before he tweeted that out? It was Tesla merch buyable with Dogecoin. Tesla merch buyable with Dogecoin. Huh. And then the follow-up tweet to that just simply said top. Ladies and gentlemen, it is of my opinion that given his announcement of Doge being accepted for most Tesla merchandise, I mean, what else could we deduct from this but symbolizing taking Dogecoin to the top? I mean, I can't say that this is the meaning of that tweet with absolute 100% certainty, but I do think that this is most likely the meaning. I do think, given everything we know, and given the history of Elon's affinity and the timeline on which he sent these messages out, he tweeted these things out, I personally believe that the meaning, okay, of Elon late last night in the twilight hours, tweeting out simply the emoji top, was symbolic and a direct response to his tweet right before that, which was Tesla now accepting Dogecoin for merchandise. I believe that Elon, given his long history and affinity with Dogecoin, now we know there's clear records that show Elon had been talking behind the scenes with various Dogecoin developers in efforts to help optimize the performance of Dogecoin for almost 4 years now. Almost 4 years now. Something to really consider here. I think Elon's commitment to Dogecoin, I think, is very long-term. I think it's very committed. And I think he understands the long game of this and the patience involved. I don't think this is a passing fancy for Elon. I don't think that this is simply some sort of trolling trend. I think Elon sincerely thinks that Dogecoin is the best digital currency on the planet for everyday retail transactional use. I agree with him. You guys know me. You know the real deal has been saying as such since I started making content 1 year ago. I've been shouting it from the rooftops, folks, night after night after night after night. Well, before it was cool, when it was cool, when the market was super good, when the market was super bad. I've never stopped. Now, given the track record of Elon Musk, people have doubted him many steps of the way throughout his career and throughout the twists and turns he's taken in it. There was a time years ago wherein many people predicted that Tesla would be an absolute failure, particularly when Elon Musk took the reins. I remember people thinking that PayPal was going to be an absolute failure. I remember reading articles from writers suggesting that SpaceX was misguided and going to be too dangerous, and that it was a bad idea, that was reckless and destined to fail, and that space exploration should just be left up to NASA. Now, why do I bring all these things up, folks? Why do I bring all these things up? I bring them up because overall, I wouldn't want to bet against the plans and the passions of Elon Musk. Now, folks are in my DMs, folks are in my comments on social media. And what are they saying? What are they saying to me today? They're saying, Steven Steele, what are you saying now? Dogecoin's just trading at 18 cents. Where was the big pump? Well, I never said there was going to be a big pump in relation to the Tesla merchandising announcement. But it also is what you define as a big pump, firstly, folks. And so what we do know is this. Dogecoin, as of right now, trading at 18 cents, still puts it up at almost a 20% increase, for the week. We are in retracement today from the heels of the excitement. But all of these things aside, folks, all of these things aside, this is a long game. This is a long game. And sometimes, well, not even sometimes, I would say many times, arguably most of the time, the most transformative efforts, the most transformative page turners, so to speak, they don't happen overnight. You don't just flick the switch and all of a sudden, eureka, everybody's on the same page with it. This is something that's going to happen over a course of time. This is a journey I believe we are all taking together. And I do believe, personally, that that journey is going to be a very successful one over a period of time. But it's going to be a period of time. Now, could things get really wild style and go parabolic? Could we see Doge to $1 and above within 2022? Absolutely. That's absolutely on the table. But what I'm saying is, if it's not, that's okay too. I do ultimately believe we are going to get there. I do ultimately believe that Dogecoin is going to secure itself on the top 3 cryptocurrencies by market value. I think it's inevitable. So when Elon Musk comes out with a short tweet that says top, right off the heels of announcing Dogecoin inclusion on Tesla for merchandise, I can only conclude that he is referencing Dogecoin, and I really think that's the case here. Now, if Elon Musk sincerely thinks he can help take Dogecoin to the top, and that he thinks that the future of Dogecoin is the top, well, folks, I think we have more than enough reason to believe him. I think we have more than enough reason and a body and history of evidence to conclude that this is a high probability scenario. To bet against Dogecoin, dog money, is to bet against the business sensibilities and judgment of Elon Musk, Vitalik Buterin, Mark Cuban, and more. Now, people are certainly free to bet against all 3 of those individuals as it relates to cryptocurrency, but I'm not going to be one of those people. I'm not going to be one of those people. Furthermore, Elon or no Elon, I have been very bullish on Dogecoin before Elon even started making a public deal about it. I already recognized the utilitarian strength of Dogecoin long before Elon even started really tweeting about it and talking about it very much publicly. The potential has always been there. Elon hopped on because he saw that potential. It's not like Elon created the potential of Dogecoin. He saw the makings there. He saw the potential there. And he saw that Dogecoin was well poised to step up and solve and step into this huge gap, this huge void that Bitcoin was leaving open in terms of transactional use in the retail space. And this is something, for those of you who watch me regularly, something you know I have talked about all the time for the last year now. Essentially, Bitcoin is dead on arrival in a retail space in the first world. I say that caveat in the first world because I do think there are going to be notable exceptions in the second world and third world use cases for Bitcoin, where people there, frankly, they're more economically desperate. And they will be more, people that are more economically desperate will be more subject to spending Bitcoin. People in the first world will not spend Bitcoin largely. They are buying Bitcoin to hold it long term as an appreciating value, aka digital gold, as a hedge against inflation. Now, that's great. I love that. I love Bitcoin. I said it earlier on Twitter, just today. Without Bitcoin, there'd be no Dogecoin. Huge props to Bitcoin. I love Bitcoin. The problem is people aren't spending Bitcoin on a mass basis, and that's not going to change. Lightning Network or no Lightning Network. And that's okay, because I'm not an absolute maximalist, and I can recognize when certain projects and certain cryptos really have what their strengths are as well as their shortcomings. I believe wise people that don't let their egos get too much in the way can recognize this. That's why I'm a fan of both Bitcoin and Dogecoin and Ethereum and various others. Because I understand, and I think many of you as well, that different projects have different strengths and specialties. And consequentially, there's different areas that maybe they're not so strong in. And that's why we look to other projects, and that's okay. The future of digital currency is very bullish. Now, Bitcoin is essentially evolved to be the digital gold. I think it's going to continue to be a massive appreciating value. I think Bitcoin will go to 100,000. I think it will go to 200,000. I think it will go to 300,000. And perhaps beyond. Consequently, it's going to bring everything else up under it with it. And that's great. So, the transaction fees for Dogecoin are incredibly cheap, particularly compared to Ethereum and Dogecoin. There's no comparison. And the speeds have been absolutely optimized. Both the fees and the speeds have been just optimized just incredibly over the past year, as well as the security. So, I do believe that was Elon's subversive secret message to Dogecoin holders, Dogecoin community in large. I think he is in it to win it. Long term, he's going to stick with it and take Dogecoin, do what he can to take Dogecoin to the top. To the top. Now, will Dogecoin make it to number one? Could Dogecoin flip Bitcoin? It's possible eventually. It's technically possible, but I think that's a pretty tall order. But I'm not taking it off the table either, folks. But what I do see as a very high probability, even within the next 2 years here, is Dogecoin at number 3 market cap and potentially number 2. Potentially number 2, because there's a decent probability that once other businesses and other captains of industry begin to see how successful Tesla is being with Dogecoin, that is when the real excitement starts. That's when the dominoes start to fall, right? Because any major industry, any major franchise, chain, what have you, that has already expressed an interest or flirting with adding digital currency to its choice of checkout options for customers, they're going to be looking at that dog money maybe. They're going to be looking directly at Tesla. These folks aren't stupid. They realize how much money Tesla has additionally accumulated simply by buying and holding Bitcoin. And we've seen many businesses consequentially copying that model, that investment strategy from Tesla. And it has been an absolute recipe for success to any business that has invested in Bitcoin for a year or longer. These kind of margins you can't get on the stock market, even at Bitcoin, which is the highest market cap project out there. Now, that being said, there are many businesses right now that are set and prepared and eager to accept Bitcoin, you see, for one of their checkout options. Now, what happens once they go through with these plans and they realize that their Bitcoin sales suck? Their Bitcoin sales are underwhelming and they're dismal. Well, the first thing I believe that they're going to do is reference the Tesla website. They're going to look at the quarterly earnings reports of Tesla as it relates to Dogecoin. And folks, I can tell you right now that it's only going to take a month to see the first month's earnings reports as it relates to Dogecoin to see that it was a great idea. Folks, I can tell you right now, from everything that I've been looking at behind the scenes, the transactions right now for Tesla merchandise are off the hizzy. They're going gangbusters. And they're going gangbusters with Dogecoin. We've got merchandise selling out on several fronts right now off the Tesla website specifically since the announcement of the Dogecoin acceptance of its merchandise. And I would encourage each and every one of you, if you're able to do so, to make a purchase using Dogecoin on the Tesla website. I've got 2 mugs coming and a Cybertruck trucker cap coming. That's what I have coming. Like I stated last night, and I can't emphasize this enough, and sorry if my streams lately have been so insanely Doge-centric, but please understand it's a reflection of the news cycle as well, and I've always been bullish on Doge, but for those of you who tune in for other reasons outside of Doge, don't worry. We're going to cover lots of other stuff as well. And I will continue to cover lots of other stuff as well in future episodes. But right now, the streams lately are exceptionally Doge-centric, even more so even for me. So, listen. Listen up, folks. When those first month earnings reports come back to Elon, I think the decision is going to be clear. Not only is it going to be clear for Elon what the trajectory is going to be for dog money as it relates to Tesla, but you know who's going to be very curious about it? Other CEOs, other marketing departments of huge corporations are going to want to see what those earnings reports look like. There's a lot of people in very powerful positions that are very connected and very well moneyed that are waiting in the wings to see how Dogecoin is going to perform on Tesla's website. They're waiting in the wings. Now, folks, we have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to vote with the dog money. If you're able to do so, I would encourage you to do it. And you don't even have to spend a lot. There are various items in the Tesla merch store that don't particularly cost that much. There are items in the store where you can spend just $40 or $50 worth of Dogecoin after shipping. And I would ask you to consider that because we have a rare opportunity, you see, to affect the future of the future trajectory of the entire digital marketplace, the entire digital currency marketplace. Because right now, Elon Musk is the most prosperous man on this planet. And he has exclusively picked Dogecoin to be the only digital currency his company accepts. Now, if we can yield results and return results that show unequivocally that Dogecoin was the right answer, was the right decision, I believe not only will that solidify full integration, full Dogecoin integration with Tesla, as it will, I believe, accept Dogecoin for all of its merchandise, including its entire line of vehicles. But I think that will likely have a cascading effect, an absolutely monumental cascading effect throughout various captains of industry, through other companies that have been seriously looking at digital currency. We could absolutely change the paradigm, change the trajectory, change the perception on what the most popular digital currency will be in retail. Right now, we are making history. Right now, we have a unique opportunity for those of you who are Dogecoin enthusiasts, Dogecoin investors, holders, to change that paradigm. Now, do you want to get left behind? Do you want to, and the thing is, it doesn't even require that much effort to make this statement. You just need to talk about it. You need to be active. You need to be enthusiastic. You need to have fun. Most importantly, please have fun. But also, we have a unique opportunity to absolutely show that Dogecoin is the right move for Tesla with those first quarter earnings reports, even the first month. I think they'll be looking very closely before the first quarter earnings reports. I think they'll be looking very closely at it after 1 month. After just 1 month. Now, let's see what's going on in the chat. Ooh, nostalgic day, putting the pep in my step, lighting the room on fire with some big Doge energy. Second super chat of the night, and boy, is it out of sight. Putting 50 big ones in the chat. Love you, Nostalgic Jay. Always great to have you in the mix. Nostalgic Jay, such a great, strong supporter of this show, of this community, and of the larger Doge community. He said, just ordered 2 Tesla Cybertruck hats. Pay for in Dogecoin to the moon. It sounds like you and I have a pretty similar ordering roster there, Nostalgic Jay. I don't know how soon you came on the show, but I just got done telling people that I have 2 of the Tesla sexy mugs on order, and a Cybertruck trucker cap. I love the trucker cap. Personally, I'm a big fan. Those of you who watch me often know that I often wear my checkered Vans trucker cap. Before that, I had a Goonies trucker cap, but it got too beat up. It had to retire. But yeah, I'm soon will be adding my Cybertruck trucker cap to my headwear repertoire that I paid for with dog money. Again, Nostalgic Jay, thank you for literally helping to keep the lights on over here. Hugely, hugely appreciated, my friend. Now, where is the future of dog money? Where are we going, folks? Well, right now, we have never been more empowered to decide that. We have never been more empowered to decide that. Folks, don't miss this unique opportunity. I'm telling you. Right now is the time. If you're an enthusiast of dog money, if you're an investor, now is the time to make your voices heard. We can literally vote with our dog money. And the wealthiest man in the world has given us a platform to prove it. Now is the time we can do it. With a little extra effort. Now is the time. Now is the time to change the paradigm and the perception of the mainstream on what the most popular digital currency could be. And no disrespect to Bitcoin. I sincerely mean that. This is no disrespect to Bitcoin. I'm an investor in Bitcoin. I love Bitcoin. I'm very thankful for Bitcoin. But I also understand the evolution of these different cryptocurrencies and what their strengths and shortcomings have come to be. And it's in my opinion that the table has been set in multiple ways to really set the stage for Dogecoin to be the #1 transacted currency on the planet. Starting right now. Starting right now. What are you waiting for, folks? Now is the time. Now is the time. It's an exhilarating time. Julio, coming in with a $5 super chat. Appreciate that, Julio. You deserve it tonight. On fire. Energy is pumping. Keep up the hard work. Thank you, folks. I've had a heck of a day. I've had a really busy day. And I wouldn't have it any other way. I've been whipping my day business back into shape. I've been forcing myself out of that bed. Those of you who watch me a lot, you know that I've had tremendous chronic health struggles and issues over this last year. But I am getting on the good foot. I have been adamantly and almost militantly positive. As we get older, we realize how much of happiness is a choice, right? When we're younger, we take it for granted. The older we get, the more adversity that comes our way, the more we realize how much happiness is a choice. Now, you may be asking yourself, what's this tangent Steele's going on off of? Well, this show's full of tangents. And I always end up weaving my way back to cryptocurrency in some way. But I'll tell you something, folks. The destiny of Dogecoin is in our hands right now. It's never been more in our hands than it is right now. It's never been more in our hands than it is right now. And this is an exciting time. So when you see Dogecoin trade at 18 cents, when doubters around you say it should be at 78 cents, well, consider this. Over the past week, Bitcoin is up 3%. Over the past week, Bitcoin is up 3%. And over the past week, Dogecoin is still up, even at its 18% price, almost 20%. So when people say, where's the spike? Well, Dogecoin is still outperforming Bitcoin in a Bitcoin dominant market to tremendous levels. That's no easy feat. That's no easy feat. So success is measured by the context of the situation, folks. Success is measured by the context of the situation. Elon just he tweeted a picture of a grape. What does that mean, folks? Let me put on my Codebreaker hat one more time, which is ironic because my most popular music project, my band, was called Codebreaker in the past. So let's see if we can give it a go here. I'm pulling up Elon's Twitter page right now. He just tweeted... You gotta give me a minute on this one, folks. He tweeted a grape. It just says, so informative. And it's a screenshot of Wikipedia's definition of grape. I don't know if that's the real Wikipedia page of grape. Let me look it up really quickly on DuckDuckGo. Let's see, Wikipedia grape. No, so the grape page on Wikipedia is not what this meme says. So if I had to guess, what does this mean? Now, I wouldn't read too far into this. Sometimes Elon just likes to tweet over really just like wholesome kind of humor meme kind of stuff. And that's pretty much what I read into this on. I don't think grape is code for anything. I think this is just a meme he came across that he just genuinely chuckled at and just tweeted it out. It's funny. It's good. It kind of reminds me of one of my favorite comedians, Stephen Wright. Any of you ever heard of Stephen Wright? He's one of my favorite stand-up comedians. We can buy grape with Doge, someone says. Someone says, Elon grape. You know what, guys? Oh my gosh. You laugh, but there's a good probability that somebody is already working on releasing a token, an ERC20 token called Elon grape. In fact, you can almost guarantee it that there's going to be a token up within the next 2 hours called Elon grape. And people grape-aping into it. Larry Ramirez coming with a $2 super chat. Thank you, Larry. For the love of the grapes, baby. Grapes, baby. We're going to take Dogecoin to outer grapes. But what if it is code for something, someone says in the chat. Folks, I definitely wouldn't take that off the table. Given Elon's cryptic history, there could be some sort of devil meaning. I got to be honest with you folks right now. I'm not seeing it. And sometimes Elon has just tweeted memes just for the sake of the meme's sake, without a cryptic message or meaning behind it. But a lot of the time, Elon's tweets, particularly his text-based tweets, usually have some sort of cryptic messaging behind it. This one, I'm at a loss. I'm open to suggestion, but I don't see a deep conspiracy on this one. I don't see a deep conspiracy with this one. Outer grapes. Yes, that's what I said. That's what I said. Bunny bread. Outer grapes. We're taking it to outer grapes, folks. Now, that would be a good name for a crypto project. Outer grapes. Now, some coders probably listening to my show is going to do it. If you're that person to do it, you better send me a bag. Mama, why won't you let Zombie drive your Cybertruck? Why? That sounds like a bad combo. Why won't you let a zombie Drive your Cybertruck. Actually, if you're going to have any one vehicle in the zombie apocalypse, Walking Dead style, Cybertruck seems like a pretty good way to go. Kenny says, Steven, you and Miles G Investments should do a live together. I had actually Miles G, I patched him through one time in the show months ago, and we had a great talk. He was on for about a half hour or so, but Miles always has an open invite here. We get along great. I love Miles. He's more than welcome on the show anytime. You know who's way overdue to be on this show is Crypto Batman. Crypto Batman needs to get his butt on the show here. And I think I'll probably do a co-host on his channel at some point as well too. I was going to do it last week, but I had a doctor appointment that went too long. But you know who's going to be on the show very soon? I have two guests to announce to you guys right now. One is core Dogecoin contributor and developer, none other than man with the plan. You know him, you love him. He's been here before. He's a fan favorite. It's none other than the English gentleman, my English brother from another mother, Ross Nickel. Ross Nickel will be here in the very near future, within the week. I'll have that date for you very soon. And the second guest I'd like to announce, my co-hostess with the mostest. She hasn't been here for a while, but she will be making an appearance on Monday evening. This Monday evening, folks, it is none other than, hands down, one of my favorite people on the scene, and certainly one of my favorite women on the scene, Sadaf Jadran, coming to us live from Sydney, Australia. So Sadaf Jadran will be my co-host Monday night. You don't want to miss that. So we're going to have that's two great guests coming up this week, folks. Two great guests coming up this week. So Elon Musk tweeting about grapes. What's going on with that? I don't know, folks. I don't know. Best hats in the crypto world. Thank you, Audio Freak. A few months ago, Elon showed us the list of YouTubers he watched. A list of YouTubers he watched. Is that true, Freddie? Some people have speculated that Elon occasionally watches this show. I don't know. I would say I'd be surprised in a way, but maybe not. But then again, given how dialed in he seems to be with the Dogecoin community and the Dogecoin scene, maybe it wouldn't surprise me that he's at least tuned in on the show once. I know he knows who I am. I know that much. He's liked a few of my tweets now. I know he knows who I am. So I guess the more I think about it, I guess it's not that much of an outside chance. Now, I'm not saying he's a regular viewer by any means, but I think now that I think about it, I think there's probably a fair probability he's at least tuned in once. Freddie says Elon will be offering jobs to his favorite YouTubers at Starbase. Sign me up, baby. Then I can go live to you from Starbase, Texas. It come to you live with an Elon interview here on Steven Steele, live from Starbase, Texas. Elon and I sipping on kombucha and eating some Texas toast. How about that, guys? Now, folks, if you're just tuned in, you're watching Steven Steele Live. I'm Steven Steele. Some folks call me Real Deal Steven Steele. However you want to frame it's fine with me. We've got an awesome eccentric community here. I think we have the most fun here out of any channel on the YouTubes. Hands down, baby. So I want you to be a part of it. So hit that subscribe, hit that all and that notification bell. Ascend with us to the moon, to Mars, and beyond. After Mars, I'm going to Saturn. I want to surf the rings with Saturn like the Silver Surfer, baby. That's how I'm going to do it. While swimming in my millions of dollars that I have made through digital currency. Who knows? Knock on wood, ladies and gentlemen. I wish everyone in here the utmost success. Elon's waiting on Robinhood. Freddie says, I agree. This is a point that I've made time and time again. I don't think total Dogecoin integration acceptance will happen with Tesla until Robinhood releases those wallets. Elon's a very smart man, and he's smart enough to understand that 30% of the worldwide percentage of Dogecoin holders are storing their Dogecoin, holding their Dogecoin through Robinhood. 30%. That's huge. That's huge. So, yeah, I agree. I think that is one of the main things that Elon is holding out for before that. But the great news is we've got tremendous things happening in favor of Dogecoin throughout the first quarter of this year. Robinhood wallets, the Doge 1 mission to space. We got the Doge Ethereum bridge coming down the line somewhere this year. And so much more, folks. So much more. So things could get very wild style very quickly. Things could get very wild style very quickly. Doge could easily surpass $1 within this year. I'm leaving that on the table. Kenny says, off to bed. Good night, Steven. Catch you on Twitter. All right, Kenny. I understand. Thanks for tuning in, man. We'll see you on the flip. Mr. Lynn, good to see you. Ask, am I late? You're a little bit tardy, sir, but we're still moving. We're still grooving. We're still having fun. Better late than never, my friend. Good to see you in the mix. Good to see you in the mix. Now, let me check my notes for this show. And I'm going to those things now. Also just announced that the Cybertruck has again been delayed for redesigning issues again. I'm anxious because I want to see those Cybertrucks on the road. So this is the third delay now on the release of the Cybertrucks. Now, the Tesla Cybertruck's been delayed to 2023. Elon Musk begins accepting Dogecoin for some merchandise, reports Yahoo Finance. So, I don't have the details on why the release of the Cybertruck has been pushed back again, but I do know that initially the Cybertruck was so big they had to scale down the width of it just to fit through some basic tunnel entry sizes out there on the roads. So I know that was one of the first reasons. This next story comes courtesy of Benzinga. Will Dogecoin reach $1 by 2023? Now, they took a poll. Benzinga always takes a weekly poll question that they put out to their audience. And this week, that's what the question was. They say, this week we posed the following question to Benzinga viewers or visitors. By 2023, will Dogecoin reach $1? What do you think, folks? What do you say? What do you say? Those most familiar with Dogecoin over the past year know it all too well, how correlated the price action of the cryptocurrency is to some celebrity influences, including but not limited to tweets from Tesla's CEO Elon Musk. Here are the full results of this week's survey. As the Family Feud host used to say back in the day, survey says, the amount of people that said no, Dogecoin will not reach $1 by 2023, a whopping 39.7%. But guess what, folks? The people that voted yes, that Dogecoin will reach $1 by 2023 is a whopping 60.3%. The clear runaway winner here, almost in a landslide, about a 60-40 split there. The Dogecoin will hit $1 within this year. This sentiment study was conducted amid an active week of trading, which saw Dogecoin run higher by 20%. So the overwhelming sentiment out there seems to think, yes, Doge to $1 by the end of 2022. I'd put it in the moderately high probability category, personally. Let's see what's going on in the chat. Delayed for Dogecoin miner programming. Someone says, VJ says $1, make you holler. Dogecoin will settle $1 in April, will not drop below 90 cents or go over $1.05 after that, Freddie says. Yeah, hope you're right. Last time I knew it was 2008, I was listening to Mars Volta. I forgot about that band. I haven't thought about that band name in a while. Mars Volta. Where does time go? It's funny, isn't it? I mean, when you think about it, folks, 2008, you're already talking 14 years ago, 13 years ago. 13 years ago, 2008. Holy smokes. Time really does fly at times, doesn't it? I think I had my first, I think it's when what year did the first iPhone come out? I feel like it was right around that time. Shidoshi finally wakes up from lurking to chime in the chat. Louis Doge, really, thank you for your $2 super sticker. Thanks for keeping the pep in my step and keeping the lights on over here, my friend. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. So, Dogecoin right now trading just a little bit over 18 cents. Kind of finding a new floor. I mean, it's certainly not dropping from there. Actually, it's gone up a little bit. It's at 18.18 right now. Right now, you're looking at a 5-minute chart. Got another green candle going up. The volume is still tremendous, all things considered. The trading action. I'm seeing a ton of buy orders just coming right now. So I think, who knows? Maybe the Steele effect will kick in and we will reach upwards of 19 cents this evening. Anything's possible, folks. All right, let's get to the next story. Let's get to the next story, Morning Glory. Crypto airdrop season, why people are making thousands for quote-unquote free. Crypto and NFT traders are getting airdrop after airdrop of free tokens. Here's why. Yeah, I don't know how many of you got that. I actually took advantage of the SOS airdrop. I made a little money off of it. And the reason why I made a little money is because it's the ERC20 and those gas fees going in and going out. Forget about it. I'm so over that. I'm so over it. It sounds like a scam, no more sophisticated than an email from an alleged Nigerian prince, but it wasn't. Sol, a recreational trader in his 30s who didn't offer his real name, claimed a paid transaction fee and watched $2,000 worth of tokens flow into his wallet. Now, keep in mind, the reason why this gentleman had $2,000 worth of the SOS token flow into his MetaMask is because he must have done a very astronomical amount of NFT purchasing throughout the year, because the SOS airdrop amounts were directly correlated to how much money that you spent on OpenSeas throughout the course of the year. Folks, I can tell you right now from personal experience, if you were to get a $2,000 airdrop from SOS, you would have to spend a ton on OpenSeas. So we're seeing another reason why some of these DAO projects are doing this sort of thing is because if they can give away the airdrops, even though it costs them liquidity up front, it does establish a buzz. It does establish a lot of perceived trading action and volume going on there, which in the hopes of them would cause new investors to ape in on the project. And to a degree, this does work. This does work. Where do I stand on these things? I know a lot of people that are still holding these free airdrops they have in hopes of them turning into big money. Me, myself, I'm happy just to make a little bit of profit, and I sell and I keep it moving. My theme for 2022 is not get left holding the bag. This is not financial advice, folks, but what I can tell you is this. For these smaller market cap projects, don't be afraid to hit it and quit it, baby. Don't be afraid to do that. Don't be afraid to walk while you're still up. Now, will you inevitably cheat yourself out of higher gains they could have made holding longer on small market cap projects? Inevitably, you will. Inevitably, this will happen at some point. But the point is, if you just not get too greedy and be happy with the profits that you made, put it into, roll it over into your BNB or your Ethereum collection while you research the next project to invest in. Overall, that's the smartest way to go, folks. That's going to ensure that you're going to end up in the win column more than the L column. And most people have a difficult time doing that on those projects. Now, my personal investment strategy is almost the exact opposite when it comes to large market cap projects with a super established community and high utility. Projects like Dogecoin, projects like Avalanche, projects like Solana, projects like Ethereum, Bitcoin, etc. These are very long-term holds where the risk is lower, but also to reach those tasty marginal gains, you got to hold for longer. But so many millionaires and multimillionaires have been made through cryptocurrency through the consequence of people having the patience to pick great, solid, high utility projects with strong communities and development and holding over a course of several years. My other co-host, who's been taking a long break, Nick, that's how he became a retired multimillionaire at the age of 34 through investing in Dogecoin back in 2014 and just forgetting about it, holding and letting it sit. That's 8 years of patience. Mr. Lynn coming in with a generous $20 super chat. Appreciate that, Mr. Lynn. Thank you for joining us on Midnight Mass. He says, trying to buy a sexy mug on Tesla merch and Coinbase is a pain in the neck, as I have to wait 48 hours to send Doge after adding the Tesla wallet address and the whitelist. Hope Elon realizes these obstacles and overcomes them soon. Yeah, there is a bit of a wait there, particularly as it relates to the Coinbase wallet. I experienced something similar myself. I can only assume that Elon is aware of this, and I think you raised a really good point there, Lynn. And that process, to a degree, is out of Elon's control. But I think what we are going to see, not just Dogecoin, but in digital currency in general, as adoption continues to take place, I think that process is going to get much more streamlined in pretty short order, frankly. So, as frustrating as that is now, this is just part of the growing pains, and I wouldn't sweat it too much, because I do think inevitably the process is going to get a lot more streamlined in the near future, Mr. Lynn. But yeah, I hear you. Let's see what's going on in the chat. Dogecoin become a monopoly on Tesla and SpaceX tech. It will collapse other cryptocurrencies. We'll see. That remains to be seen, Freddie. But look, what I can tell you, there doesn't seem to be any aggressive plans to re-include Bitcoin with Tesla integration. I think Dogecoin is going to likely be the only cryptocurrency Tesla accepts. Now, let's get to some other stuff here, guys, because I got other stories here. What else did I have on the roster? This was pretty cool. You guys know Ted Koppel. Ted Koppel's a kind of a legendary reporter, journalist. He's been around forever. And this was interesting story I saw today. Ted Koppel slams media bias. Direct quote from Ted Koppel: "If you start drawing those distinctions, hard to know where to stop." On Friday, journalist Ted Koppel appeared on News Nation's David Abrams Live. During the segment, Koppel and host Dave Abrams covered several topics before discussing the bias in legacy media, especially as it relates to the former president. Abrams first read 2019 quote from Koppel, and this is a direct quote from Koppel in 2019, and listen to how prophetic this is. He said, "I'm terribly concerned that when you talk about the New York Times these days, you talk about the Washington Post these days. We're not talking about the New York Times of 50 years ago. We're not talking about the Washington Post of 50 years ago. We're talking about organizations that I believe have in fact decided as organizations that Donald J. Trump is bad for the United States." Abrams then asked Koppel if he still felt the same way. After praising legacy outlets like the New York Times and Washington Post for brilliant journalism, Koppel noted that opinion belongs on the opinion page, and that's why they call it the op-ed section. Koppel went on to say this, and this is where it gets particularly juicy in my opinion: "I don't like seeing opinion being expressed on the front page of great long-standing newspapers like these," Koppel said. Later adding, "It bothers me when I see them losing some of the criteria that always used to keep a wall between opinion and news coverage. I think if you start drawing those distinctions, it's very difficult to know where you stop drawing the distinction. Do you feel that way about anybody else in politics regarding the former president?" Koppel replied before reiterating that the place for opinion is in the op-ed page. And I completely concur, and this is a very destructive trend that we've seen in legacy media and corporate media over recent years, where pretty much these outlets have pretty much just become extended activist arms of a pretty much a singular persuasion politically. And it's all become kind of like sensationalized opinion journalism rather than just unbiased journalism. So much so now that it's become incredibly difficult for Americans just to find news sources that are unbiased and cover things objectively. It's very, very, very difficult to find. When I look back to me tuning into main TV shows, even as a child, as a kid, it was a much different landscape. Things were handled with much more objectivity. And I feel like all the adults have left the room in terms of news and the objective presentation of it. So, yeah, I just thought that was a pretty interesting observation from Mr. Koppel. Now, CoinDesk is reporting this. Market wrap, Bitcoin trading volume dips, crypto market dips, Dogecoin rallies. Bitcoin traded in a tight range this week, provided some relief to market participants after a volatile start to the year. The cryptocurrency was roughly flat over the past 24 hours and up about 3% over the past week compared to 5% gain earlier. But guess what? Dogecoin is right now trading about 20% higher over the past week. So this is an extraordinary difference. I'm not sure if we've seen a difference quite this major before, where in Dogecoin has such a bullish week, it's up 20. I think it probably had happened once before, but this is very exciting, a very exciting signal. Obviously, very bullish signal. Dogecoin right now trading comfortably over 18 cents. Folks, that could change at any moment. It wouldn't surprise me if our dog money legs. You could wake up to 24 cents tomorrow. Honestly, the way things have been going. The way things have been going wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me. Let's see here. Someone asked, what's the use case for Doge? Oh, where do you start? Where do you start? It's got cheaper transaction fees than the top coins in the market, Bitcoin and Ethereum, and it's much faster than both Bitcoin and Ethereum. There it is, man. There's your use case. It's cheaper and quicker. It's cheaper and quicker, and the security is high. Now, kind of a fun little tangent here. Came across this article from Stacker. 30 toys that define the 80s. We're going to take a trip back down memory lane. We're going to go through the time warp, so to speak. I love going through the time warps, whether it's to the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s. On this show, we often take little detours and we discuss movies and references and music and all these things from the past. And right now, we're going to take a trip back to the 80s with 30 toys that define the 80s. Some of us are old enough to remember a childhood from the 80s, and some of us aren't, and that's okay. And some of you maybe were even adults by the time the 80s rolled around. Nevertheless, we're going to get down to it, guys. We're going to go over these 80s, quintessential 80s toys. Let's see how many of them you guys remember. The Care Bears. Remember the Care Bears? I never owned any Care Bears, but I remember the cartoon. I never got into it, but I remember the girls were always into the Care Bears for obvious reasons. Next up was the Atari 2600. I do remember the Atari 2600. I had an Atari 2600 when I was in first grade, and I would play Space Invaders. I would play Pong, and so many others. Actually, there are a lot of Atari cartridge games I remember having. Many of them eluding me right now. With the joystick, one button and a joystick. A lot of good times there. Strawberry Shortcake. Now, I remember this because they're little dolls that actually smelled like scratch and sniff stickers. They're like dessert themed. Like you'd have a strawberry shortcake that smelled like a lemon meringue pie or a blueberry muffin. I remember little girls in kindergarten, they would bring strawberry shortcakes to to class when I was in. Yeah. By the way, people are talking about Atari. What was your favorite Atari game? Put it in the chat. Here's a fun one. I do remember this one as well. The Pogo Ball. The Pogo Ball is a Saturn-looking jumping device manufactured by Hasbro and the cousin of Pogo Stick. Quick funny story for you guys. Right when, or in the early days of Twitter, I had registered twitter.com/Hasbro. They hadn't taken it yet. And I did that with a few other large companies, thinking I'd be sly, thinking that they'd come to me with an offer and a deal. Unfortunately, Twitter just seized the handles from me and gave them to the corporations, which I don't think it's right. I don't think that's fair. If I registered those domains before they did, that's not my problem. That's their problem. But que sera, sera. Can we really be surprised that, big tech sided with the corporations over an individual person? Of course not. But what was funny is I was actually actively operating a Hasbro account. And I was making up outrageous, ridiculous toys that were being released, and people, they'd get a lot of traction. People thought these absurd toys were real. And then one day it was just gone. I no longer had access to it. Anyway, the Pogo Ball was made by Hasbro. I loved the Pogo Ball. I remember the Pogo Ball as a kid. It was like a Saturn-looking ball, so that you had a durable plastic ring around that you'd put your feet on, and kind of trap the Pogo Ball underneath and jump up and down on it. At my age, I'd probably look particularly ridiculous on a Pogo Ball, but I thought it was a pretty cool idea. Pitfall, yeah, Pitfall, Harry Pitfall. That was a good game. Teddy Ruxpin, someone says, we'll see if it's on the list, guys. We'll see if it's on the list. I've got also another funny story about Teddy Ruxpin. Thank you, Del. Space Legos. To capitalize on the success of George Lucas. Now, I don't remember Space Legos. Does anyone here remember Space Legos? To capitalize on the success of George Lucas's smash hit Star Wars, the Lego Group, which manufactured plastic toy bricks, created minifigures with visorless helmets and wheeled vehicles. It wasn't until 1999 that the toy manufacturer would issue its first intellectual property license, Star Wars. They're pretty unremarkable. They almost look like multicolored, erasers that you'd stick on the end of a pencil or something. I don't think Space Legos are pretty cool. I've never heard of them, but I'm looking at a picture of them. Consider me underwhelmed by the Space Lego. Here's another one. I have no idea what it was, which was Monster in My Pocket. Forgive me? Monster in My Pocket. The picture that I was looking at that I said was underwhelming was the Monster in My Pocket. When I scroll up, now I see the Space Legos. They're traditional Legos in space theme, which makes sense. Okay, so Monster in My Pocket looked like what I told you guys about, just monsters that are racist. Now, the obvious is the innuendo that Monster in My Pocket, they had to have known, guys, when they made this toy, right? They had to have known the implications of naming something called Monster in My Pocket. They had to have known, guys. I can't help but think of Fred Schneider, the front man for the B-52s. He had a solo album, and his first solo album, and the first single on his solo album was There's a Monster in My Pants. It's just called Monster, but I do have a Fred Schneider impersonation. For those of you, again, that aren't sure who Fred Schneider is, he was the front man of B-52s. Their most notable hit was Love Shack. I'm sure everyone's heard that at a wedding 2 or 100 times. But before, he had a solo project, and his first single, the solo project, was called Monster, and the lyrics went, "There's a monster in my pants, and he does a little dance." It's so good. And no one could do the lisp quite like Fred Schneider. "So hurry up and bring your jukebox money." No one else does it like him. I saw the B-52s when I was in junior high, and the first thing he said to the audience when he came out on stage, he said, "So, who wants to touch my tinky winky?" Yes. So, yeah, Fred Schneider. No one does it like Fred Schneider. No one does it like Fred Schneider. Anyway, next on the list of quintessential toys from the 80s. I see I'm losing viewers right now, by the way. Oh well. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, of course. Mutants in a half shell, turtle power. We love it. I actually just recently watched the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles real life movie. And holds up pretty well. It holds up pretty well. It's cheesy but good fun. I particularly like the arcade video game. Then Rubik's Cube. Who remembers the Rubik's Cube? Almost everybody. Almost everybody remembers the Rubik's Cube, guys. Almost everyone remembers the Rubik's Cube. I never got super good at the Rubik's Cube. My older brother, when he was around, he was phenomenal at it. He could figure out the Rubik's Cube, all 6 sides of it like that. Me, I'd get mixed up pretty quick on it. Another one is the roller racer. You guys remember the roller racer? It looks like a little sled that you sit on. I have no idea on that one. Speak and Spell. I remember the Speak and Spell of the distinct robotic voices. Now, many recording artists throughout the years have sampled the Speak and Spell throughout the last few decades now, including me. I remember sampling Speak and Spell for one of my music projects. Light Bright Magic Screen. Of course, we all know the Light Bright, folks. We all know the Light Bright. I don't think we need to go into that any further. Now, the Koosh Ball. You guys remember the Koosh Ball? Is made up of approximately 2,000 natural rubber filaments. It was invented by an engineer who wanted to make playing catch more simple and safe for his children. So that was, you guys remember the Koosh. It was kind of like, yeah, it's just how it sounded. It was a very fun texture. You used to be able to find those at any like local Walgreens. The glowworm. I barely remember the glowworm. Glowworms were like, they bridged the gap between like stuffed animal and like a nightlight. It was like a nightlight for kids disguised as a doll. Pound puppies. Now, I wouldn't have ever thought of the pound puppies until I read this article here. Fashion plates. I remember hearing about fashion plates, but I don't know much about them. Moon shoes. Those look ridiculous. Polly Pocket. Masters of the Universe. He-Man, of course. And then Monchichi. I love that commercial. I remember there used to be... Now, Monchichi was a stuffed... not stuffed, it was like a little doll that always sucked its thumb. He kind of looked like a little monkey. Like a little monkey child. And the commercial used to go... Monchichi, Monchichi, all soft and cuddly. Ba-na-ma-na-ma-na-ma. I don't know. That's all I remember of it. Then the piano dance mat, most notably popularized in the Tom Hanks movie Big. Remember that? The piano dance, that was good. Little People Family House, no idea. Don't remember that one at all. Mad Balls, I do remember Mad Balls. They were like grotesque looking rubber balls. They were an attempt by Amtoy to find a product for boys. I remember Mad Balls. They're pretty cool. Rainbow Bright, of course, needs no introduction. Teddy Ruxpin is on the top of the list, of course. Hi, my name is Teddy Ruxpin. Can you and I be friends? And it was seen as a real breakthrough at the time because you put a cassette in the back of Teddy Ruxpin, and then his mouth would like kind of sort of closely mimic the sounds and syllables of the tape, cassette tape that would be playing in the back of Teddy Ruxpin. It was really kind of creepy. But one of my best friend's little brother had a Teddy Ruxpin, and we quickly realized that you didn't just have to use the Teddy Ruxpin stock tapes to make his mouth move to stuff. So we put our like favorite punk rock cassette tapes in the Teddy Ruxpin, and we play them like Black Flag or the Sex Pistols, and then Teddy Ruxpin would sing along these songs, and that was a lot of fun. Then the Cabbage Patch Kids, of course. Cabbage Patch Kids, those things were crazy. The fever behind the Cabbage Patch Kids, they ended up getting... people end up paying huge money for those, and they're still wildly collectible today. Simon, a very simple but very... I like Simon. That came out in the late 70s. It was like a 4-color electronic disc game where you just had to copy the order of the beeping colors. You guys remember that? And when Simon first came out, I think it cost like $100 or something. And I think the original assignments are still worth a lot. Then Game Boy, of course, Game Boy. Who could forget Game Boy? Graphics sure have come a long way on handheld gaming gameplay, haven't it? Then Smurfs. Smurfs at the top of the list. You know, what's wild, I used to watch the Smurfs a lot, that cartoon as a little kid. I don't know, I thought it was good enough where I kept watching it. Looking back, it was kind of weird that there was only one female in that whole village. It was Smurfette. I don't even want to think about the dynamic there, how they were procreating. Smurfette was very busy. They were very busy. You know, she was getting smurfed on a daily basis, put it that way. Then we go to Power Wheels. Of course, those are like the little like powder puff Barbie Jeeps for little girls. I barely remember those. And then Star Wars figurines. Star Wars figurines, of course. You got to take the top of the cake there. And of course, Star Wars, the original Star Wars figurines have gone on to be incredibly collectible, worth thousands of dollars. In fact, the Star Wars Java action figure recently sold for 22,000 pounds, which would be equivalent to almost $3,000 here in the States. So yeah, that's it. I was more of a G.I. Joe guy, but I love Star Wars as well. I'd collected Star Wars and G.I. Joe. Folks, that's about all that I got for tonight's episode. Let me see, but before I go, let me read what you guys are saying in the chat. Micronauts, good call. I remember Micronauts, yes. Yeah, My Little Pony. She's saying in the background, My Little Pony, My Little Pony. I love the way she combs her hair. You know, it's kind of turned into a weird phenomenon because now there's bronies. There's like grown adult men that are really, really into My Little Pony. Not my thing. Not my thing. No judgment. No judgment. Just a little bit outside my district. Pogo stick, of course. But those, I don't think that could be quintessentially related to the 1980s, the Pogo Stick. Pogo Stick's been around a lot longer than that. Next up, we got the Dino Riders. Someone said Dino Riders. I don't remember Dino Riders at all. Rambo action figures. I do remember Rambo, of course. Nerf guns. Of course, the Nerf. Nerf's still sticking around. $6 Million Man. Another good call there. But that would be more technically 1970s. Maybe early 80s. I think a quintessential early 80s action figure thing going on would have been like Knight Rider. Knight Rider. That Knight Rider theme is still really lit. It sounds really good. And then we got Mark Lance, barely get online. Hope to catch another time. Voltron. Now, Voltron was one of my favorites. I remember being totally ecstatic when my parents got me a Voltron that stood about 3 feet tall. And that was a Japanese-inspired series where 5 like mechanical robot lions would come together to form one giant crime-fighting robot. Up, Hunter Wayne, referencing Elon Musk's tweet from last night. I love it. Better late than never, Hunter Wayne. Good to see you in the mix. Roller Razor. You guys want to see a far-out movie? There's one called Rollerball. It's a 1970 science fiction, dystopian science fiction film about a professional sport in the future that they called Rollerball. That was very violent. It was pretty cool. It's pretty cool. The aesthetic kind of reminds me of Logan's Run, if any of you guys have ever seen that. If you've ever seen that. A-Team, of course. What was your guys' favorite A-Team character? I think mine was Face. I think Face was my favorite. Followed closely by B.A. Baracus, otherwise known as Mr. T. Mr. T. Let's see here. Well, folks, just kind of summarize. I think the future of Dogecoin is promising. I think we've got a lot to look forward to. I think we've got a lot coming down the pike in the near future within the first quarter of this year. So stay tuned and stay encouraged and stay positive out there. And most importantly, have fun, folks. Have fun. I want to thank each and every one of you guys for tuning in tonight. I hope you got something out of it. I hope you had a good time. Hope you found it insightful, inspiring, or something. But again, it's always great to see you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, this is your man, Real Deal, Steele, signing out.